What's up guys, I'm Dan Leith, and today I'm going to be showing you how to pan sear a grass-fed ribeye. The first thing you got to do before we get started is preheat the oven to 400 degrees. So what I commonly do is that I'll cover my steak in salt about 40 minutes to an hour before I'm going to actually pan sear my steak. So because I've done that, I'm not going to add any additional salt to my steak before I sear it. I'm only going to add a little bit of cracked pepper. Now that we've salt brined our steak, we've preheated our oven, we've added a little cracked pepper to our steak, we're ready to go hit the pan. First thing we're gonna do is turn our burner on high heat. For steak, I always go with ghee, which is a clarified butter. Add about a tablespoon of this to sear our steak in. As that butter is melting, it's important that I don't add my steak too early. Ultimately, we're trying to hit roughly 400 degrees surface temperature for our pan. It's very important that we make sure the surface of our steak is nice and dry, which if we salt brine our steak correctly, we should have a nice, dry, even surface to sear with. But if you notice some liquid still pooled on the top of your steak, just make sure you blot that dry with a paper towel. And let that sear for about 2.5 minutes per side. And it's important that we get every side of our steak. I'm gonna hit all the edges and try to get that good browning. It's called the Maillard reaction, where the sugars or the carbohydrate in the meat and the amino acids in the meat combine to make all these new chemical structures that give us that signature delicious smell, that nice beautiful brown crust on the steak. That's what we're after before we transition over into the oven. So about 2.5 minutes, we'll accomplish that on each side of our steak, and then we'll add it to the oven. We're ready to transition the pan into the oven. We'll let that go about 5 minutes at 400 degrees, and we'll come back and check our internal temperature. Perfect, so we hit an internal temperature of 130 degrees. Now I'm gonna transfer the steak to the cutting board and let it rest about 10 minutes now. And we do that to allow all the juices to settle and allow our steak to get as tender as possible. There you go, medium cooked steak. I'll usually pair this with half avocado from Mexico. They're always in season. There's something I can always rely on with my fighters, so they're my go-to. These organic avocados are the best. Perfect pairing for a perfect pan-seared steak. I'm Dan Leith. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.